I think, yeah, I think that last game actually, I think we can mention maybe the Terran. He missed his gas. I think he's trying to do like a 5 factory as a follow up. I think he missed his gas or something. That's why he was a little bit late, and he
Yeah.
built so many turrets. All right.
Yeah. All right. Let's make sure that I'm actually streaming. Yeah, I'm actually streaming. Let's make sure that announcement's up in CPL. Let's see. All right, we are live. Let's see. We have 20. Well, how do I figure out how many viewers we have right now? Let's see if we should actually start. All right. I want to get Lemon to make a post.
He already made a post.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I guess we can just start.
Cool. All right. I don't think anyone's watching right now. How do you look at the viewer count? Actually, some terrible, terrible damage. Okay.
I can hop on quickly, right, and see if anyone's watching, right? Because
oh, actually, no. It looks like we got 6 people watching, right? Looks like we're good to start.
All right. Good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Just make sure everything's set up. All right. Cool. We are good to go. All right, guys. Welcome to CPL Preseason Week 1, CPL Season 2, Group 22 cast. We're going to be casting games for you tonight. Me, Six Saucy, and my friend Always Lose, who's on Discord right now. Why don't you say hi to them, Always Lose? Say hello to the people. Lose, are you there? Did I lose you?
Hey, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was just trying to fix some of the settings. Yeah, I'm here now. Hey, how's it going, Sig?
All right, perfect. All right, we're finally going to do our cast, and we're going to show everyone that we really have what it takes. So let's start with some PvP games. Let's get you in here, and we will cast. All right, so this is going to be a TDP, I believe, between, I don't know their names yet, but we got KanzkiRanko, a Terran player, in the top right, and Szinkler, a Protoss player, in the bottom right. Yeah, so hopefully we get to see some good TDP games tonight. Me and Luz are pretty much primarily Terran players. Luz plays a little bit of Protoss, so we always love seeing this matchup. So,
all right.
You're a veteran of CPL, right, Luz? How far did you get last time?
Last time? Well, I played in the last CPL. I was on Team 5. How far did I get?
Yeah,
not that far, I suppose.
Well, you were tired, so you're not in the season, so that's okay. I'm actually playing this season. I was having a pretty good week 1, but then I lost pretty hard this week, so I'm hoping my luck to turn around. But getting back to the game, not seeing anything too crazy from any players. We got the Terran player making a depot at 9. Protoss going for the standard. We got no proxy shenanigans from the Protoss, which is always making me a Terran player happy. Got a bit of an interesting SimCity from Kanzaki. Typically, as a Terran, you want to have a nice SimCity of like a barracks and a supply depot to have your Marines to micro against any zealots that get rallied into your base. But with this barracks where it is right here, you don't really have much of a SimCity to fight zealots with. So as long as Szinkler doesn't send any zealots in, Kanzaki should be alright, but if that happens, we can see an early GG.
Yeah, usually Terrans, like they do want to set up some kind of a barrack supply depot kind of a sim city. And exactly what Sig was saying, right? It's to ward off any kind of early Zealot play or anything like that. But looking over at the Protoss's base, it looks like he's playing a pretty standard game, as he's gone for what was it, a Cybernex core after his gateway. So it looks like Kanzaki will be safe. Looks like there won't be any aggression. So
yeah, so we see Zinkler's going to get the first scout off. He's not sending his zealots, so that's going to be all right. But aside from that, we're not seeing any aggression from any of these players. Terran's going for what looks like pretty much standard, 12 bat, or the 12 racks, 12 refinery into a factory and CC. The fact that he pulled those 2 SCVs here kind of points to that. He wants that CC for his natural up his ASAP. Meanwhile, the Protoss, we got a 1 gate range. That points to the Protoss player want to play pretty safe as well.
yeah, so far pretty standard builds coming out of both players. You can see Kanzaki taking 2 SCVs off gas. So it looks like he's going to do some kind of expand behind this. Oh, we see a second gate going thrown down for Szinkler. So this looks like it's going to be some kind of early aggression.
Right, we've got the Terran player, gets denied a scale. So he's got to be maybe wondering a little bit what's going on behind this Dragoon. But as we can see, it's nothing too crazy. There's a second gate, which points to kind of like it's not an all-in put, right? It's going to be a little bit of pressure put on him by the Terran player, put on the Terran player by the Protoss player. But with a barracks and SCVs, you should be able to hold it off all right. The only thing we gotta worry about is overreaction from the Terran player. With the engineering bay actually coming up this early on, I think that's actually a bit of an overreaction by the Protoss player. As a Terran player, you really want to be scouting for that 420, Nexus, whether it's there or not. If it's not, you definitely know there's some shenanigans going up. But the Terran, all he saw was around like 320, no Nexus. So I think this. This amount of investment in detection is a little premature by the Terran player.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. I think what happened was Terran. I mean, he's denying his scout right on the ramp, and usually that triggers like Terran to think, okay, yeah, it's going to be some kind of Reaver or DT cheese, right? That's why he's throwing down the engineering bay. But interestingly to note, it doesn't look like it's going to be a DT or actually a Reaver timing, because the robotics facility is actually kind of late for a fast Reaver. Looks like it'll be some kind of 2 gate bust. I'm kind of hesitant to say.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those zealots, being queued up this early definitely points to a shuttle and a bulldog attack coming in actually.
Yeah, for sure. That's
right.
I was thinking, yeah.
The Terran player should actually be pretty safe with this turret right here in the bunker. He should have a few, at least another tank by now. I noticed he had a few gaps in his production cycle on his factory. So, I think at this stage of the game as a Terran player, you want to make sure your factory is just constantly producing. Because if, you're not taking full advantage of that factory, or else they're going to just, overwhelm you with some basic units. But yeah, we see the Terran player actually, the turret and Sea-Shank pretty much in every base. He's, quite scared of, a Reaver or maybe a DT shuttle drop. But we know that's not coming. It's actually going to be a Bulldog with the shuttle. And so, if the Protoss can close this before, many more takes come out, the Terran player might have some things to be scared of, actually. Because, this tank right here, while it looks good in practice, it's not protected by this turret, so it's going to be easy pickings for the shuttle. And then once that goes down, Dragoon's going to just run in here and finish everything off. So I think we're actually going to see that happen. Let's watch the play.
Yeah, that turret was just, like seconds too late. He was going to put a turret on his high ground where his tank was, right? But the shuttle managed to unload the Zealots and pick off the tank.
Right. Yeah, so, a little bit of playing a bit overcautiously by the Terran player, and then not, not having the best setup for defense. You know, I can understand having a tank back here because you're still worried about that Reaver coming in. But you know, kind of having this, I think the one simple thing you could have done to win this game was, you know, have that tank that was here over here, and as well, you know, keep his tank production up. But otherwise, you know, pretty technical game by both players. Terran player wasn't playing bad at all. The Protoss still hadn't had an expansion, so if he had just done a few minor adjustments, he would have been able to, I think, go develop into a pretty good late game. But
That was a great game. It was a great game actually out of both players. Very, very technical. As I say, like they followed the build orders pretty well. So
right. So Zinkler's up 1 in this group so far. Let's give him some props for that. Congratulations, Szinkler. All right, let's go to the next game. Well, I guess we'll just keep the Szinkler train going and go into another TVP. Alright, so you know, as before, we have Szinkler. In the top left is the white Protoss, and we have ProlapseProtoss as a Terran player on the top right as yellow. So you know, we saw ProlapseProtoss, or we saw Szinkler last game go for some pretty almost I would actually call it all-in strategies to try and end the TVP. We'll see how that goes in this game.
yeah, I think last game it was kind of like a modified bulldog kind of build because there wasn't 3 gates. So let's see what it'll do this time.
Yeah. So can you explain to me how these players have, you know, like above 300 APMs early in the game? Because, you know, I know that it's all just spamming right click pretty much on the gateways, you know, on their command center and Nexus. But, you know, even when I do that, I get like maybe 250. So I don't understand how these players are going up to 350 APM.
Yeah, well actually, if you hotkey your units in your Nexus, for example for the Protoss, and you just hold down the hotkeys, you can actually get the APM to 1000.
Oh, terrible.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Well, actually, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, you know, I've been playing Star for a long time, and I'm still stuck around like 250 APM when I'm at my max. So, you know, even seeing right now, I don't think Prolapse is actually doing that, and he's still at 250 APM, you know, in the early game. So I'm pretty impressed by the APM of these players. Of course, that doesn't really mean a lot. But you know, it points to a good sign. This is Group 22. I think these are Tier 2. These are mid-tier or maybe higher tier players. So I think we're gonna have some good games tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely say people have been getting a lot better at this game, right? Even since Remaster came out. So.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So.
I think
yeah.
like I play and I get to like 1600 MMR and I'm like, oh man, I'm so good. And then I get off for a month and I fall down to 1500 and I'm never able to get back to 1600. These players are just getting better and better all the time.
For sure. Alright, so back to the game. So we see Szinkler coming out with a pretty standard build. It was 12 gas. And you see his Cybernetics core coming up, so there's not going to be any kind of early Zealot aggression or anything like that coming out.
It's actually,
you see...
It's actually interesting because like I think I'm seeing, you know, the same builds out of both players, even though ProlapseProtoss wasn't the Terran last game. So it'll be interesting to see maybe a repeat of last. We're getting kind of like a new version of what happened last game. And this SimCity was what I was talking about. Is how you want to have your depot, you want to have your barracks and your supply depot to be able to handle any Zealot shenanigans as a Terran player.
Yeah. Usually, yeah. If there was any kind of Zealot aggression, you would just run your Marines like back and forth basically through the gap, right? Because the Zealot wouldn't be able to fit through.
Do you think we're gonna see that rally Zealot strategy a lot more often? I think players aren't really doing it so much right now because they want to they want to win their preseason matches. Kind of what's an honor. They don't want to just win with shenanigans. But as things get more competitive, I can totally see the Protoss players just being like, well, send in a Zealot to a Terran player's base is always usually pretty good at lower levels. So I wonder, I think we're going to start seeing Zealots and Terran bases with kind of higher frequency as time goes on.
Well, I can't really comment about that actually, but for me personally, the only honor is winning, right? So if it works, man.
Whatever. Well, you play Protoss when I play, so that's why you're saying that. But we got Prolapse actually. He's building quite a few Marines. He's got an SUV in a good position to scout. It's good that he's keeping it here, but it's going, it's maybe a little bit too, he's keeping it here for a bit too long. You should be going in right now to check for that 420 Nexus timing, spot for shenanigans. But other than that, with this many Marines, it kind of points to some early aggression, that he wants to do some damage. Although
yeah, we see. Yeah, I was just saying, we see Prolapse actually moving out right now with FD push. But as you were saying, unfortunately, he didn't bring in his SCV and scout the no Nexus. So or at least get into the main. So this 2-gate build, which is the exact same build Szinkler did last game, should be able to repel this FD pretty easily, right?
Right. So he's going to see the no Nexus right now. Actually, I'd see quite a few Dragoons come in and out, and with only one tank, you know that you can't kill a Protoss who has this many Dragoons and is clearly doing something kind of fancy, doing some shenanigans in his main base. As a Terran player, you got to be scared. There's no expansion. Am I going to get DT'd, or am I going to get Reavered to death, or is this just going to be a flat-out bust? So you definitely see Prolapse shift into a more defensive position, which is the exact right choice. But behind,
he's dropping mines right away, right? And he's pulling his forces back behind into his natural. I think he's definitely afraid of. I think, as you were saying, I think he's definitely afraid of some kind of DT or Reaver. And you can see he's getting his engineering bay right away.
Right, and we actually see Szinkler is actually going to do what I think is the exact same build as last game. He's got he's got some Zealots coming out, shuttle. But I think Prolapse is going to be better positioned. He's pretty much he got an engineering bay like our last player, but he didn't get it that early, so his economy isn't very stifled. He has enough of an army that I don't think one shuttle and 5 Dragoons is going to be able to bust him with this many mines and tanks. And he's doing a pretty good job of constantly producing out of his factories.
Yeah, I mean he got the Vulture Scout in, so he must see by now. It's going to be some kind of bust, right? And I mean he didn't see any kind of tech or anything, right? Unless, well, I guess Szinkler could have proxied it, but I don't feel like that's likely at this point, right? Because it would have already come. Yeah. So, like if it was a DT or Reaver.
Yeah, I mean he has no idea what's going on actually, but with the turret in your nat and your main, you're pretty much safe against anything. So I think he's actually going to be feeling pretty good, because if you compare their economies, Zinkler's natural still not up, and we're seeing the Terran is matching the Royals player on supply, which is actually not supposed to be happening at this stage of the game. But yeah, we see Szinkler going in for a bust again. But yeah, there's just too much Terran, and losing the shuttle that quickly with only one Zealot coming out just pretty much means this push is dead. And with that, the Royals player's got to be a little bit scared, because his Nexus is still not up. It's been about maybe 2 or 3 minutes that the Terran player has hyped his base up. You got to be wondering, like, what do you actually do? Actually, what do you think, Luz, that as a Protoss player you have to do in this position to actually get a chance of winning?
Well, with your Nexus so delayed and everything, and seeing the Terran, and with the Terran having taken basically no damage from that 2-base aggression, I think really what you have to do is you gotta either you gotta expand behind this, basically, right? You gotta try to play economic catch up. That's what I would try to do. Or you can actually do what Szinkler's trying to do right now. Sometimes you can get lucky by just going, mass gates, right? I don't know if you ever watch Artosis, but he always speaks about Gateway Man, right?
Right.
Just try to mass up a bunch of units and hope that the Terran's going for a third.
Yeah.
So the Terran's going for. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but with this, this few gates, and this is such a late economy, I don't think he's in any position to be a gateway main, because I think with that build you want to do for that to work, the Terran player has to move out, and you need to be able to kill his army to reset the tank count. So we'll see if that happens, but I have a feeling this Protoss player, it almost feels like he's going a little middle of the road. He wants to build a few more gateways to get a bigger army. He wants to get his tech, and he wants to keep making some probes. But when you're behind, you can't do all three of those things.
Actually, it looks like it's going to be a 2-base Arbiter play coming out of the Protoss. I actually feel that Szinkler could be in a little bit of a trouble here, because if you look at Prolapse, he's going for a 5-factory timing, and this 5-factory timing will hard counter any kind of 2-base Arbiter play. So
yeah, I guess the only bad thing for the Terran player is that his academy is pretty late, and I see no starport sword, so he's going to be able to hold off any Terran aggression with just that Cloaked Arbiter for a bit, I think. Really, although we're actually seeing quite a few idle SCVs from Prolapse, but he looks like he just fixed that. Maybe transferring a few SCVs over to his natural is the right move, because this looks pretty well saturated. Yeah,
definitely a little bit of an oversaturation in the main.
Yeah, and I think the Terran player, if he's scattered around with this SCV at all possible mining locations, and he's not seeing anything. But as a Terran player, you have to be saying to yourself, what's going on, and it's either going to be just the Protoss player is going to try to bust you, or he's going to try to go carry 2-base carriers or Arbiter. In either case, as a Terran player, you really should be saying to yourself, I just need to be defensive. I don't need to do anything crazy because I'm already ahead. I think as a Terran player, a lot of times we want to push out and do a lot of aggression, but when you lose all your tanks, that can let a Protoss player who is light years behind you all of a sudden come out back ahead.
Okay, looks like Prolapse is starting to move out a little bit, mining up the area in front of his natural, pushing out a bit. This is actually a pretty good move, actually, because on Fighting Spirit, if you actually camp your army behind that little bridge there, the Protoss can actually set up kind of like a I don't know what's that word.
Contain.
Like a concave.
Right,
yeah, like a concave. So when you move out, right, they can just like hit your army.
Yeah, that's the worst, when you think you're maxed out and ready to push, and the Protoss player just makes you bleed for every inch across this bridge, which it's really hard to maneuver your units across. But yeah, the Terran players in a very
Especially
good
if they have
position.
storm, like because your units are all bunched up on the bridge. So
Definitely.
yeah, that's really good on Prolapse. I am getting a little worried about Prolapse though, because it seemed like he was set up for a 5-factory push, but he's actually not. He's just like camping out in front of his base. I'm getting a little afraid because Szinkler's getting up his third, and he's starting to get his tech up.
He's going to spot the third now. This is actually kind of a weird third for the Protoss to take, because right now it's very close to where the Terran's rally points are. So as a Terran player, you really just have to, put 5 tanks here and you can kill this base really easy. I think the only thing that's going to be able to save the Protoss player is maybe doing some recalls that, make the Terran get befuddled and, camp out, because otherwise this game's going to, go, I think, in the favor of Terran player real quick.
Yeah, I was actually like a little bit afraid for him earlier, because he wasn't actually moving out, you know what I mean? Because if you look at the supplies right now, Prolapse and Szinkler are almost even, and at even supplies, right? Theoretically, the Terran army should be able to beat the Protoss army, but every minute that goes by with Szinkler having his third up and macroing behind it, hopefully, he like the chances that the Terran can just like push through the Protoss army gets less and less, right? So
Right.
and I don't see like a third coming up for Prolapse, so. But yeah, I do feel like he's still in a great position, right? You can see like he's actually up in supply, right? But
Well,
I'm saying yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it's actually interesting because you're seeing the APMs of these players fall quite dramatically at this stage of the game. And they're both floating quite a bit of money. As a Terran player, with this 5-factory push, I think you typically want to do some aggression, but because of what Prolapse saw, no third, he always saw a very late third. He knew he didn't want to push out, which was very good. But as soon as he saw that, he really should have thrown down, third command center. So I think that's what the Terran player is doing wrong right now. But he's a little preoccupied with trying to push up in this position. But if he started command center right now, he'd be in a much better position.
Yeah, we've seen Szinkler going in for a little bit of a poke, but he decides against it. His Terran is too entrenched.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that ProlapseProtoss can really do right now is do this mass expand style, because he's definitely going to lose the space. He needs the space and at least one more, I think. Or he can try and do a recall into the main. And at these lower levels, I think you can do so much damage as a Protoss player with recall that it should really always be a part of your arsenal. Because as it stands right now, these Arbiters, he's had one out for quite a while now, and it really hasn't done very much. I think this right here was his first one.
Actually, hold this thought. Yeah, the Protoss Arbiter, there's actually an Arbiter coming in about at the 2 o'clock. I think he's heading for a recall. He's got enough energy, right? So 174.
So
I haven't seen if he got. Oh no, he has got recall. Looks he's getting stasis now, so I'm pretty sure recall was researched first.
Oh, and this is the perfect position to recall because it's just terrible. Well, if he went back here, it'd be a lot better. But he's going for the top of the ramp, which is good as well. Well, he kind of whiffs it a bit. I think he tried, because of the factories and the location it was, the recall only fill in this gap. So, if he had recalled right here or here, he would have been in a lot better position. As it stands right now, he's going to maybe kill one factory and a few units, but not much else. So I think as a Terran player, you really got to be thinking to yourself, I just got, pretty far ahead. I need to push out. And he's already killed the Protoss' third, so, I think the Terran player should go for a killing blow as soon as he finishes clearing out this recall.
Yeah, the recall there a little bit blocked because of the SimCity of the factories and the recall position. Looks like the Terran still has the bulk of his army, and so he seems to be in a pretty solid position.
He just scanned the Protoss' fourth, so he knows that he knows what he wants to do. He shouldn't be afraid anymore of Protoss going all in. But we got another recall actually. This can happen, right? The Protoss players, if they're pretty much pumping out Arbiters out of the Stargate, I think it's like they can get a recall into your base about every single minute. So, as a Terran player, you have to be wary of this. And we can see that Szinkler is actually doing quite a bit of damage, tearing down the infrastructure and killing some tanks and vultures of the Terran player.
Yeah, this recall was really, really good. A little bit of a late reaction from like Prolapse, so he's gonna lose all his factories, and I feel like this is actually critical damage. He was in a commanding position before, but this recall might have just thrown the game way back into Szinkler's favor.
He's just not responding. I think he's made in that mindset of he's really frantic, and he thinks he has these tanks in the control group and thinks they're heading back, and he doesn't realize they're sieged, and that he's had about a minute to deal with this recall, and he's sent barely any units. So I think right now he's just really panicking. And at this point it's kind of hard to blame him because he just lost every single production facility.
That's I was saying it looked Prolapse was in a good position just a couple minutes ago, but the power of recall, you know what I'm saying? The power of Protoss. One good recall and the game looks like has shifted out of your favor, right?
Right, and I think as a Terran player, the proper response to this, right, is this recall he stopped over here, he did a good job cleaning that up. This one, he did a terrible job. Really, the solution for him was, either send your army back to deal with it, or don't deal with it. Hopefully, the factory production deal with it. Send your army to go fight his, because I think even this, before the recall, well, scratch that. We got another recall going, and I think this game's over.
Oh wow, great game out of Szinkler again. I mean, he turned it around from a he turned it around from a pretty well what it seemed to be a desperate position. So
Yeah, I think the Terran player did.
great game out of Szinkler.
The Terran player did really well. He was ahead early in the game. He didn't do the 5-fact push, which was good in the circumstances. When you see a Protoss player matching you in expansions, you should never think, you should never attack really. So he made the right choice. That window of time between, like there was a brief moment before the recalls came out that he should have been pushing, and he just took too long to kill that third, and then kind of sat around for too long. Which let the Protoss just get a chance to get back into the game. So yeah, let's update the scoreboard for Szinkler. He's doing a pretty good job so far. Undefeated champion at Group 22 so far. And so now we're going to go to a TBT. This will be a bit happier because at least the Terran player will win. Something I always like to see. Yeah, and so TBT is a bit slower matchup. I think it maybe for me as a Terran player, it's actually my most difficult matchup. Spider Mines are maybe like after playing TBT, I can totally understand why Protoss players and Zerg players think Spider Mines are off. So what I just do is just not play this matchup, and it makes me a lot happier.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And in some ways, TBT can be one of the hardest matchups. It's definitely the most technical matchup for Terran. It's played like chess almost.
Yeah,
it's all about positioning and everything. So
I feel like
it's quite different.
When you don't have a deep understanding of the game, it can totally feel like, oh, I did this build and this guy did that other build and I lost, and it's just not fun. So I think that you really need to know what your opponent is doing and know how to properly counter it, which could be hard. I think it takes a lot of experience and practice. But onto our players, we have Abstractdaddy as a Terran top right, and we have KanzkiRanko as Terran bottom left. So far, they're identical builds. I'm expecting to see a 12 refinery come up any moment, and we'll see kind of what Terran players can do at this point. They kind of go for a 1-fact CC build or a 2-fact aggression build, or even into starports and go for some 2-port Wraith action. So we'll really see what happens here in the next couple of seconds.
So far, it looks like they have mirror builds. Abstractdaddy a little bit ahead of KanzkiRanko. I think it's because he had a better split. Okay, so we see three SCVs on gas for both players. Pretty standard. If sometimes when you get around, I think it's 72 gas if I remember correctly, you can pull 2 SCVs off, right? And that will help you get an extra faster command center.
I think it's actually 80 gas is what you're supposed to pull.
Is it 80?
Right?
Is it 80 or 70?
That's the rule I try to follow, but I usually forget anyways and end up pulling off at like 150. So anything that's below 100, I think close to 80 is pretty good.
Yeah, well, we see KanzkiRanko, he's already pulled his 2 SCVs, so it tells me he's trying to do some kind of expand behind his 1 factory. Abstractdaddy with a little bit of a mistake, he's pulled all 3 SCVs off the gas, so he's got to really remember to put at least 1 on.
Oh yeah, that's I don't think he's going to be able to get tank out in time.
Yeah, he's going to have to open with Vulture first, but when he realizes he has no gas.
Well, at this point, he's not going to have enough gas for a machine shop, so that's definitely a mistake. Yeah. So he's going to be forced to do a Vulture first. Okay.
Yeah, Abstractdaddy floating his barrack down to his opponent's position. KanzkiRanko also, floating his barracks. Very, very common play in TBT.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a trapped SCV. So do you think that this is going to be a 2-port Wraith SCV micro tool, or is this just he trapped his SCV?
I think it's just he trapped his SCV because you can see he's going for expansion right now. It's natural, so.
Well, I could dream, right?
It would be pretty nice to see a 2-port Wraith coming out.
It's been interesting. Both players are going for early expansion and for a Vulture first, which is I don't think I really see that much on the ladder. I don't think that's the appropriate thing. You usually want to go for a siege tank and siege mode for this sort of build, right?
It really depends, right? Well, what your opponent is going to. I mean, a Vulture First is a perfectly viable build, even with Command Center on down on a natural. But again, I mean, it really depends on what you see your opponent doing, right? If your opponent is going 2 factory, right, and you go expand with one Vulture First, right? That probably wouldn't be that appropriate. But no, in this case, I mean, looking at both players right now, it seems perfectly fine.
Well, hold your horses.
Looks like you will get your wish.
I was right, okay?
You are right.
KanzkiRanko knows what he's doing. He did not trap this SCV on accident. He trapped it a little prematurely, but you know, we're still going to see some nice 2-port Wraith action here. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, it is 2-port Wraith.
So at this point, you know, Abstractdaddy, he's getting a factory, which is actually going to put him in a pretty good position, right? But the real question is he going to get Goliaths in time? Or is he just getting this for the upgrade? The economy of both players is going pretty well. I think they're both a little bit late on getting the second gas, actually. I think gas is like really the limiting resource in TVT. So, you know, I think they both need to maybe work on getting that a little bit earlier. What do you think?
Yeah, gas is really important, as you were saying in TVT. It's TVT in a sense, like for the economy wise, it almost reminds me of like Zerg. You know, the gas is almost more important than minerals, right? Because all your units rely so heavily on gas, right? And it looks like Abstractdaddy, yeah, he's going 2 factory with that with the +1 going. I think he'll be completely fine. Kanzaki's heavily invested to 3-port Wraith now, actually, not just 2-port Wraith. And
still hasn't spotted it though, so I think it's going to take a bit longer.
Coming in. He's going to see it any moment now. And yeah, I really. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so he spots the starport, so we should be seeing some. He's got 1 Goliath out already, but we should see a few more kicking in.
I think Abstract will be completely fine. He's got his scanners coming up, right? And he's got like Goliath production kicking in now. 2 Wraiths harassing the mineral line, but
yeah, this is
I don't see how much damage it really can do, right?
Yeah, you can afford to take a lot of damage. You could lose like 5 SCVs against this and still be fine as a Terran player. So I think you know, Abstractdaddy is actually going to be quite relieved from this. You know, he's got Goliaths to counter the Wraiths. He's already got a few tanks out, whereas Kanzaki, you know, he's heavily invested into these Wraiths. He's got no tanks out. He doesn't even have siege mode, and it's gonna, you know, it's not gonna have siege mode until at least, you know, 9 minutes into the game. He's just getting his second gas up now. So I think Abstractdaddy is, you know, all he has to do is move out, set up a contain here, and be good. In a good position in this game.
You can see Kanzaki, he's moving out with his Wraiths again. I think he's gonna try to do some more harass. But the thing with Wraiths they are literally paper airplanes, man. I mean, like 1 turret can hold off like 4 Wraiths, man. So I mean, I feel like with this push out from Abstractdaddy, it might just win him the game. No mines, with no mines and no siege mode, right?
Yeah.
And Cloak's not even done at this point, so.
I think he was a little bit late too, right? Because, you know, he was tickling some SCVs over here with 2 Wraiths. And, you know, now he's at, you know, at 6, sure, that's a lot, but, you know, at this time the Terran player knows the gig, right? So this turret is going to be able to, you know, halt that advance, you know, halt those Wraiths really easily. So I think, you know, Kanzaki really should have stopped making. He should have either, you know, done some damage earlier on with them, or just stopped investing into them, because they're really not going to do him much value in this game. Yeah, I mean, Abstractdaddy's got to be confused now. He's got to be wondering, you know, this is a little too easy. Why is there no siege tank fire? And you know, that's what happens.
We see a good game coming out of Kanzaki. Yeah, it wasn't I think that was a pretty solid game by Abstractdaddy. He played a very standard build, right? And so the 3-port Wraith didn't work out, unfortunately. Yeah, but you know, I don't really have anything else to add on, I guess, for that.
Yeah, I think the white Terran player, I think he got those Wraiths a little bit too late. because you either need to do damage early on with Wraiths, or you need to do a a switch into it later in the game and come out with a bunch. So I think he kind of did this in between, which didn't really work out. Let's see. I actually have 2 games from them for some reason. Maybe we'll go over that later, and we'll switch into a PvP matchup that I really have no experience in. So we'll see. That should be fun. So you play Protoss quite a bit. Do you play PvP ever on ladder?
Somewhat, yeah. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it's probably one of my worst matchups. So.
Right. I mean, you either.
Yeah.
There's.
Yeah.
Typically, right? It's just pure dragoons. Pretty far until either you get Reavers to do some Reaver drops, or you switch into Templars. So at the lower level, I think it's really hard to pull off the Reaver strategy. So I wonder if we're just going to see a much heavier Dragoon Zealot army composition.
All right, Sig, you have it on times 2.
Oh yeah, so I figured the game's pretty boring. In the first minute, so I just sped it up for that.
Well, actually, in PvP, PvP now, how the meta is yeah, I mean, you are right. Usually, it's all about big Dragoon armies and all that, right? But there's actually quite a lot on the ladder, or at least I see, of like an early Zealot play. It's completely common nowadays to see 2 gates, before even 2 gates, but like just pumping Zealots and trying to overwhelm your opponent.
Yeah, I think that's it's almost,
there's a lot of that's actually happened nowadays. So
it's almost like TVP, I think, with the Zealot, right? Like you only want to really ever build one, and just kind of kill some targets and probes down a bit, because Zealots are just so tanky that as a Protoss player you only have either another Zealot or a Dragoon to defend against it. Neither of those are going to be able to take a Zealot out pretty quickly.
Well,
do you think?
Yes and no. Actually, I've seen quite a lot of plays now in the Protoss versus Protoss, where you actually get quite a lot more than 1 Zealot in the early game, right? And yeah, there's a little bit of like back and forth, because both players they're doing like a pretty standard like a build. They're getting like the Cybernetics core and all that. So I don't think we'll see any big Zealot plays. But if you go for like let's say 2 gates, right, before even your Cybernetics core, and you just pump out Zealots, you can actually there's like a timing you can actually hit where you can actually just win like straight out. So
we see Szinkler is actually coming out with 1 Zealot. They've actually both come out with 1 Zealot, so almost exactly identical builds here. Although if you look at it, based on population, Szinkler is a little bit ahead. I saw him go from 17 to 19, just slightly before Earrob. But yeah, I think at this point we're going to expect to see a Nexus at probably both players to go into a early expansion. It doesn't look like any of them are gearing up for any sort of aggression, especially with Earrob having a probe in Szinkler's base, and Szinkler having the same. They both know what exactly the other player is doing, so there's no reason for them to not be expanding. Almost doing exactly the identical things. Although
I don't.
Szinkler gets away, or Szinkler loses a probe, and Earrob saves his, so that's a bit of an advantage.
I'm not actually quite sure if it'll be expand behind this. I think it'll probably be more gates behind this. Yeah, you can see like Szinkler is going for more gates behind this. Expanding early in PvP is actually kind of dangerous, because usually, as I was saying, like with how the meta is nowadays, right? 2 gates or even 3 gates before any kind of expansion. Big Zealot plays, or Zealot play into Dragoon is so popular now. Any kind of early expansion could easily be sniped. We see Earrob. He's actually going for Dark Templars right here. So he's hiding his tech in the top left.
Strat. So you know, it's gonna have less production, but you know, there's no robo on the way for Szinkler, so I think these DTs are going to come up pretty soon, and Zinkler's not going to have the answer for it. So I think the onus is on Szinkler right now to actually do something. But we see that robo coming up. Is this in time, do you think, for the DTs to pop out and have to walk all the way over?
I think Earrob's gonna be able to do some terrible damage, man, with this first DT coming out. I mean, the robotics facility's not even half done. Dark Templar's already building, and
it's a bit interesting that they're both essentially. Well, it's a bit interesting that Szinkler seeded the low ground, because it's really easy to just get contains in PvPs, right? So if all Earrob did is just build dragoons and just come down here, he could have, you know, won the game pretty easily from there. So I think Szinkler needs to work on, you know, as a rogue in PvP, unless you're actively going to die, you want to have a presence on the map.
I think Szinkler should actually move his forces out as well, a little bit, you know, just to poke and apply, you know, some pressure. See how big Earrob's army is, because with your army inside your base, you can't really get any scouting done, right? If you get contained like that. So
unfortunately, you know, if he keeping the army here in the beginning was a bad choice, but then moving it just when the CTs come out was actually the wrong choice as well. If he had kept the army up, that actually would have been the right move. But,
we see some. Oh, I thought that was going to be some kind of dragoon block on the ramp. That would have been really nice.
He got pretty close, but this is a reverse ramp, so I think it's a bit more difficult to pull something like that off.
The DT, yeah, he's getting 6 kills, 7 kills. Well, the Observer comes out just in time, right? But the Dark Templar's gotten 9 kills already. I'd say that's paid for itself, right?
Right, I mean, the natural of Zinkler's not up. Earrob's is, he's got more population than he did. So I think at this point, Zinkler's really only hope is to maybe just do a final push. Because I think losing 9 probes in a mirror matchup is pretty devastating. And if he brings his Dragoon over here and sees that this natural's been up for as long as it has, he should know that he's way behind.
Yeah, Szinkler is actually is behind for sure, but looks like he's gonna push out, right, and try to test Earrob. But I think Earrob is completely ready for it. With 3 cannons and, you know, 3 more gates or 2 more gates on the way, right?
Right.
He should be fine, but yeah, he should really be macroing out of that 1 gate he has, right?
Yeah, I mean,
to stop this counter.
I don't think this is going to work because he's had to babysit a bit of his army at this base to run for this DT.
Right.
So this army as it stands can't do much, but maybe as soon as he cleans up his DT, he sends everything he's got to maybe to kill Earrob. But honestly, I think at this point it's too late. I think Earrob has too much of an advantage. I think Storm might already be researched. And so any attack in the air is going to be a death sentence for Szinkler's army.
Yeah, you can really see the economy for Earrob, that early nexus behind that DT really coming into play. He's already up to 5 gates versus the 2 gates off of Szinkler. Szinkler just now saturating his natural.
Yeah, I think at this
point, Earrob. Yeah, go ahead.
I think at this point, Earrob, I think you're ahead. You maybe wait for Zealot legs and then just pick up the Zealots and you move out and kill him.
On that, that little poke in there, right there by Szinkler was a little bit unfortunate. He lost his Observer. I think he was gearing up for attack, but since he lost his Observer, he was afraid that there could be some DTs, right?
Right.
And that would have thrown off his attack.
With no gas, with only 1 gas still, he's going to be right about behind. He's only still just now getting Citadel to do. Finally, the gas coming up. I think right now the populations look pretty even, just from a population standpoint, but this economy, I think it's just about to explode. and we're going to see Earrob pull quite a bit ahead.
Yeah, for sure. You can already see him actually starting to pull ahead, right? With the 5 gates macroing solidly.
Yeah.
6th gate on the way against 2 gates. He really has a big advantage. He's also playing it very safe. 2 Dragoons and a cannon at his main. Prevent any kind of like, I think usually it's a Reaver. It's a Reaver drop in this matchup. So, I really feel... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the nice thing is Szinkler has this contained, but he should really be checking for a third base at this point. I think, right? That's maybe one thing that both players are doing is not checking for that sneaky expansion that a player might throw out when they're behind. I think that might have been one thing that Szinkler could have done to get ahead, catch up in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally. Because Earrob, I don't really see. Does he have an observer out on the map, or no? He doesn't
he has
have
an observatory, but it
map.
looks like he went for a shuttle. For what I think is storm drop first. So as soon as this happens, I don't think that if these storms get off, with how dense the worker line is, and how fast worker probes dive storm, we could probably expect a GG as soon as the storm drops successful. But
Yeah, especially looking at the supplies now in the economy. I mean, if I think one storm drop could really end, could basically like end this game.
Good news is that Szinkler's going to be able to spot this drop. I think. Well, if he sends, I'm not sure where he's saying that observer. Probably here would be a good spot to keep it if you're trying to spot what's going on. But
I think he's going to be able to spot it with the probe though. But the onus is he paying attention? Right? Oh, I think he's paying attention. I just saw him move this probe. Right. So yeah, I think you can see he's already shifting his Dragoons back to his natural and pulling some probes.
I think dropping this Zealot was a bad idea because if he just went straight in, dropped the Zealot first with Dragoons to tank for the Dragoons and got one storm off, he'd be fine.
I think Szinkler he actually preemptively pulled most of his probes actually to his main. So not sure how much. All right, so we see a move out from Earrob. He's finally moved out from his natural. It looks like he might be thinking of breaking out of that soft contain by Szinkler.
Yeah, this is that push out we're waiting for. As soon as Zealot is finished, Earrob got a bunch of Zealots. We said he was going to push out, and that's just kind of how this game goes. I think Szinkler just got put in a bad position where he was put. Oh wait, we got a storm drop coming in. What's it going to do?
2 kills only, or 3 kills only. Storm drop.
Well, not the best. I think just because most of the workers are here, but the fact that he's had his nat workers and his main for so long, I think that does it. It's probably done more damage than any storm drop could actually do at this point.
Yeah, I really do think that like what you were saying, the mere amount of lost mining time by having Maynarded his probes back to his main probably did it more damage than that drop did.
It looks like this game's going to be ending pretty quick.
Seems like Earrob is just brute forced his way past the bridge, and now he's hitting the natural.
I see. Both players actually got pretty late +1. Is that normal in this matchup, or?
No, I think considering what happened earlier, with the DT coming in and everything, right? I think it was okay, right?
Yeah.
Like all things considered, you know what I mean? Because you gotta like you're trying to spend your money, on making units and how can I say this? Look, with the amount of things that were going on, I mean, yeah, I guess it's a little bit late, but it wasn't completely standard as well, right?
Right.
So you see like DTs coming out and all that, right? So
yeah, I think both players seemed at a pretty equal level. Actually, I think that some games you just get thrown off, and I think that's what happened with Szinkler. So I think that if we played that game again, Szinkler could have had a chance to win. He just had to be maybe a little bit more present on the map to spot for things like DTs or Reavers coming in. But yeah, we're back to a TVP, our bread and butter. So let's get this going. All right, you want to go ahead and introduce these players, Luz?
Yeah, so we got KanzkiRanko, our Terran player, in the top right. We got Earrob, our Protoss player, in the top left. We've seen both of them play already. I think both of them are pretty good players, pretty solid builds we've seen from the last couple games.
Yeah, Kanzaki was the one we saw who went the 3-port rate, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I think TVT is he did play pretty well, but TVT is usually every Terran player's worst matchup. So I'm expecting to see a better game out of him this time.
Alright, so we can see the pylon going down, the pylon in the base on the 8th probe, so no, there's not going to be any kind of like 2 gates in the middle of proxy or anything like that. KanzkiRanko, yeah, he's got to throw down that supply depot real soon. Yeah, he chooses to throw it down actually on the bottom right, yeah, just behind his mineral only. So if there is any early Zealot aggression, maybe have a little bit of trouble holding that off.
I mean, we're not seeing it. Well, I guess it all depends on if we see that gas come up earlier or not. But yeah, unless he's setting up for another 2-port rate sort of situation, right? We'll see if he builds another depot here.
I think it's going to be a standard play out of Earrob. There's usually when you want to go Zealot aggression, you get the Zealot, and on the 12th supply you get another pylon, right? And you'll get your simulator a little bit later after that.
Right. So these Terran players, they're getting lucky, man. When I'm on the ladder, the one time that I don't do the proper SimCity is always the one time that I just get Zealot proxied. So these players, they need to work on their SimCity. But other than that, they're doing the right things. So I think people are going to be able to learn like the little things like that in this league, which is pretty cool.
I guess usually what I see is if it's a 4-player map, you don't see like fast Zealot as much. But if it's a 2-player map, because they know where you are, right?
Right.
See a lot more of that, like let's say like proxy gates and all that stuff, right? So
yeah, even in 2-player maps, I usually I think the standard play is in most 4-player maps you go for your barracks and for your refinery at 12, but I usually go for like an 11 racks on 2-player maps because those Zealots just always turn up, and when you only have one Marine, it really is difficult to hold them off. But yeah, both players still haven't scouted each other yet. So we'll see how that goes. A bit of a late scout from Earrob, actually, right? Because the Terran player scouted, it's going to have scouted 2 places, or got the scout off ahead of Earrob, which is pretty rare, actually, especially when you're going for a pretty moderate build like this as Earrob.
Yeah, it is I guess a little bit late of a scout coming out of the Protoss, but I've seen a lot of actually Protoss going for a little bit later of a scout now, just to allow their economy to be a little better. They're going into the game, so I think yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's with his SFV, he sees that Dragoon and he knows that he's safe, right? He can throw down his command center and his bunker, pump out another Marine, and use these Marines to push the Dragoon away for long enough for this bunker to get set up. So I'm actually liking what I'm seeing from Kanzaki. He's he's really reacting properly to what he's seeing, which is difficult to do as a Terran player because you're typically playing pretty scared.
Right. He needs to get those Marines in that bunker right now.
Yeah, losing one Marine, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. He's in a pretty good position. Yeah, so a really standard build actually coming out of Kanzaki. Very textbook, He's getting siege mode first, so I guess that kind of tells me it's a little bit more of a conservative style.
Yeah, it's almost like I think that it kind of changes, right? What upgrade you want to get first, siege mode or mines, right? I think with what Kanzaki's going to see now. He's going to be very happy with his choice of siege mode, but sometimes mines are actually the right choice. But with this Robo-Bay, Kanzaki's making the right choice.
I think you should put one more SCV on this on the repair.
Right.
Actually, it's a little bit close.
Yeah, well, he actually needs. I'm surprised this barracks floating so far to the left. I guess he's going to be using that for some Reaper scouting for drops. But I think this tank right here is quite vulnerable.
Especially with 4 dragoon. Well, okay, 2 dragons coming up. I don't know where the 2 are going, to the bottom right maybe, or oh no,
Yeah.
it's going to his 3rd. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Especially with 4 dragoons at the front with only 1 tank, it's really easy for a Protoss player just to come in and like pick it off, right, and then retreat.
Not sure what he's doing here, right? Because I guess he's trying to pick off maybe any vultures that try and run out. But I think it's a little premature for that, because as a Protoss player with this early of a Terran expansion, you know that the Terran player is not really going for any vulture run-bys this early on.
Right, yeah, those 2 to prevent any kind of like a quick 3rd or any vulture run by. But since Kanzaki opted to go for siege mode first, I don't think he'll be actually like producing any vultures, like to be able to do that kind of run by, right? Because you would at least need speeder mines for the vultures really to be effective for any kind of run by. This early anyway in the game, right? So
Kanzaki got a scan off, and he saw, because as a Terran player or whatever, you see no tech. You kind of maybe, I guess typically the Protoss player makes their Robotech next to the Robo facility, but that's not always the case. But with this depot, this barracks coming in and scouting, and the concept that went off here, Kanzaki's got to be feeling pretty good that no crazy tech is coming out, and that he can kind of just proceed with a standard build, building up his tank count for an eventual push. He's got his early upgrade going too, so he's definitely gearing up for a mid game or a late game push.
actually, I think he's gonna do a 5 factory like timing push again. You see him throwing down the 5 factories. I was actually kind of expecting this, because usually when you see the 5 factory like push, usually you get siege mode first. If you're actually trying to play like super like standard 3 base flash, just macro up to 200 off 3 bases. Usually you want to get mines first so you can have some map control. Yeah, but looks like Earrob's with his 3rd up, with his excuse me, with his 3rd up and starting to be saturated.
Still no gas on his natural. At least tech's gonna be a little delayed, right?
Yeah, he should really be capping that gas actually right now. But with such an early 3rd base, and it looks like he's gearing up to throw down some more gateways once that pylon comes up. I think he'll be completely fine to stop this 5 fact, especially since now you can see his observers in Kanzaki's main, so he sees what's happening.
So the proper response for this is Protoss player, right? You start cut. Do you actually cut probes in this position, or you just don't expand more?
If the Terran player is unharassed, okay, and he gets his 5 factories, you need 3 bases, which Earrob does have, and then you just need to throw down a bunch of gates, in which he is actually now doing. The rule of thumb for the 5 fact, or at least how I understand it, is that if you have equal number of factories against equal number of gateways, you're gonna win as a Terran. So that's why you need to throw down as many gates as you can, right? And try to just like overwhelm the Terran force when it comes out.
Bit of an interesting scan from Kanzaki. I don't think you really ever should just be scanning the front of the Protoss base unless you're going for maybe like a vulture run by. Surely scanning the inside of the base to check for any shenanigans. Make sure, are they going for arbiters, or are they going for based on crazy like carriers? Typically.
I'm on Kanzaki, moving out with his tanks first. Earrob's gates have just finished. Lig speed is not on the way, so he's got to get that going as fast as possible.
Actually, no zealots. Actually, only 3 zealots out so far. But you know, this Terran player, he's got 12 tanks maybe.
Kanzaki is in a really good position right now. Earrob's got a really just I guess like poke in and out, prevent the Terran from moving forward.
Well, I think
buy as much time as he can.
Yeah, at this point, the Terran player really has very few vultures, right? I think you want at least like double the vultures as you have tanks. So really, Earrob should just be buying, you know, stalling out for time, waiting for these zealots to get out, and then just running in and crushing this army.
With the 5 factory push, you actually when you push out, you're usually tank heavy, and what you want to do is then just reinforce with pure vultures. Because usually at the stage of the game, the Protoss has mass dragoons, right?
Right. So, you know, Kanzaki's actually, you know, I think the hardest thing as a Terran player is to actually, you know, properly macro from your factories while you're doing a push like this. Which you can see he's kind of slipping. See that money going up the longer it goes into this push. But he's, you know, he's doing a good job of not getting spooked by these dragoons trying to pick off reinforcements.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's actually really smart what Earrob is doing. A trick you can do when the Terran does a 5 factory push is you can place some units just in the path of the reinforcements, right? And that will severely weaken the push, especially if the Terran player's not focused. So yeah, you can see Earrob, he's really making it hard for Kanzaki to move any further up. He's got good macro going, good amount of gates going. I'm not sure why he's bringing his army back into his main though. I feel like he should try to, you know, maneuver his army, you know, up to the 12, and then come down. Because the worst thing about getting, the worst thing about getting contained as a Protoss is the Terran can just camp that contained forever, right?
Right.
And
yeah, you really need
cost efficient.
You really need that zealot farm, you know, or that gateway farm, you know, another main to be able to play off with a contain like this. Yeah, so Earrob definitely should have, you know, kept some army here, maybe some army here, here, to be able to fight off this contain. But you know, at this point, I think the Terran player just needs to, you know, get his wits about him, you know, finalize this contain, get some lines up here, and then just send, you know, two tanks or, you know, a few vultures to finish this off.
Right, the shells are starting to fall on the pylon and the natural.
Slipped up a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
He's going for +1 armor, which is not what you really want to do in this situation. He should really be having a starport and a science missile by now. So Terran players actually falling behind in tech, and you know that +2 upgrade is really important in TVP. And the, you know, the longer I see him take to, you know, close out the space or this space, the longer this space goes around unhindered and more gateways that come up. You know, I'm actually getting kind of scared for this Terran player.
Yeah, definitely. With the 5 factory push, time is expedient, right? You want to move as fast as you can, because the longer time goes on, it gives the Protoss more and more of a chance to macro up a huge army, right? And to tech up. It looks like he's actually going to hit that 3rd right now. You see a ton of probes going down. But that hidden ninja base might pay for itself though. He's got 6 gates there now, and ever increasing saturation. And I think Kanzaki knows about it. He's sending 3 vultures down to the bottom.
Oh, that's some good scouting on here, actually. I wonder how he needed to do that. I guess, you know, as a Terran player, you really want to just make sure you're actually keeping an eye open for that, because, you know, that can get the Protoss back in the game. So it's really good that he, you know, had the presence of mind to just send a few units to finish that off. But yeah, you know, with that base not being able to, with that base being found, and this kind of news closing in on the natural, I think we're going to see Kanzaki pull this game off. He actually played it really well.
It was really good timing on that push. Yeah, it looks like the Protoss has lost his natural now, so now it's basically down to 2 base versus 3 base. Kanzaki getting his 3rd up during the push. Very nice.
Really, I think Kanzaki shouldn't be trying to push down this ramp, right? Because, you know, I think as a Terran player, the hardest thing on Fighting Spirit is actually pushing up Protoss main bases. So there's nothing worse when you fight your way up this ramp, and you lose all your vultures, or you push up with your tanks finally, and then 6 zealots come out and just wipe out your entire army. So I think Earrob definitely should have let the Terran come up this ramp and then attack. But yeah, at this point, I think it's maybe a little bit too little, too late to do any of that. He's pretty much down to 2 base economy, and Arbiter tech. And he's not even making more Arbiters, so unless this Arbiter can pull off like the world's greatest recall, I don't think we're going to be able to see Earrob, pull this game back into his orbit.
Kanzaki looking really good right now, but he's losing his contain actually at the hidden base. So with that force cleaned up, Earrob can actually now flank the Terran army. Although I don't think it's also really expedient for the Protoss to come down the ramp as well, right? Since the Terran has such a good contain with like supply depots and everything.
Right. I mean, one more depot here, and I think that this position is pretty much unkillable. And in fact, he should probably send some of these tanks to join up with this force here to end this base. But really,
to try to contain him again, you mean?
Right. I think as a Terran player, you have this contain here. If you set up contain here and make sure no ninja expansions are coming up over here, you pretty much know you've won this game, right?
Yeah, the only thing, as you were saying earlier, the only saving grace that Earrob has right now is a recall, and looks like Kanzaki's actually ready for it. You can see like 4 turrets on the high ground and the 3 behind his natural, all where the usual arbiter spots will come in. He's got 3 Goliaths, just between his natural and his third. Again, another good spot where arbiters like to fly in.
Still not seeing that +2 attack. It's maybe something Kanzaki needs to work on.
Yeah, definitely, and TBP upgrades are everything. You really need those upgrades for your mech, because the difference between no upgraded tanks and +3 tanks is huge, right? So, like Earrob trying to break out of his contain again, standing against it. I'm actually really impressed with Earrob right now. Despite being contained to 2 bases, he still has the supply advantage against a 3 base Terran.
Yeah, I think the Terran player,
so he's doing a good job.
He's been floating money quite a bit. He should have maybe thrown down, maybe 2 or 3 more factories, a few, by now or 2 minutes ago.
Well, looks like Earrob has actually cleared the contain at his natural, so he'll be able to break out there. I absolutely agree about what you were saying earlier. I think a few more factories would have been good. Earrob's supply advantage really helping him now, as I don't think Kanzaki has enough to simultaneously hold both Earrob's natural, right, and his and the ninja, like to contain it.
Well, I mean, the main of the Protoss is about to dry up. He's got no natural here to transfer them to. And in this space, it's pretty much all he has left. So, yeah, I think at this point, as the Terran, it's kind of scary, right? When you have the Protoss, you have this position here that you want to hold, and you have this position here you want to kill. It's really hard to get kind of caught up just in the micro of it, and not, do a good job of macroing. So yeah, I think just the Terran player doing a little bit better of a job macroing, making sure he's pumping out at least macros constantly, would serve him, quite a bit in the closing this game out.
We see Earrob retaking his natural. Kanzaki really wanting to take out this last manning base, but Earrob's got quite a substantial force on the high ground here.
Yeah, I think
he's gonna make. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think as a Terran player, you don't even try to push up. You get a contain here, you get a contain here, and then you just have kind of like a mobile army reserve here that can either respond to recalls or respond to a breakout. And I think you win pretty much. You don't have to worry about killing these mains.
Yeah, in this position, it's totally fine just to camp. In this position, like it's totally fine just to wait out the Protoss, because you know you're up on bases, right? And you know the Protoss is confined to 2 bases.
Yeah, I guess that's the Terran play. We're just like so afraid of recalls, right? That we're just like, we want to end this game right now, right? It can be kind of scary. So I think that's maybe what we're seeing a little bit.
Also nice 9 drag. So we see Earrob breaking out again. Yeah, he did a good job of actually clearing that army, sent to contain his natural again. Kanzaki's still trying to push up and take out that 5 o'clock base.
Yeah, I think you know, Earrob had a chance to get back into this game, but Kanzaki gave a little bit of breathing. But you know, he still did a good job of, you know, keeping the pressure up and not letting the Protoss get back into this game.
Actually, I think Earrob still has a chance in this game because Kanzaki's main's gonna run out soon, right? And Earrob, he's got his natural and his 5 o'clock, and he's actually got not like, I mean, it's not good that he's down on supply, but now at least his natural is now free, right? So he can start rallying out units from there, right? Maybe go for an attack on Kanzaki's 3rd, you know.
Right. I mean, you know, Kanzaki is actually going to be on a 2-base economy. He's got this, you know, ninja expansion down here, which is
that's good. That's a really good stasis. 5 tank stasis. He's going to move forward with all his units here.
Are you?
Another beautiful stasis coming down.
I think this replay
and he will clear that.
Because I saw terrible statuses. Or where are you seeing the statuses?
Oh, on the 5 o'clock. So you got 5 tanks with 1 stasis, and then you got the other 2 tanks on the low ground.
Oh, well, I don't know, because I didn't see that. So I, mean, I think maybe this replay bugged, because I saw stasis 1 vulture and then stasis nothing. But we're in the same game, right? So I'm a little confused by that.
Right. Are you seeing them float like a lot of money? Because usually when it bugs out, like, you can see them float a lot of money.
No, they're both at like 1,200 minerals.
Yeah, that's what I see. I think. Yeah, that's about right. I think.
Okay.
Right. So Earrob's actually in trouble now. Kanzaki's finally broken the 5 o'clock position. So with the loss of this mining base, I think Kanzaki will finally be able to seal the deal. He's added on a lot more factories, and now the supply counts are way out of proportion. 160 to 77. Kanzaki also has you know, another base on the bottom left. Actually, I'm sorry. I thought he was on 2 bases, but I didn't notice. He actually has an extra base on the bottom left, so he's completely fine.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that he's scanning around trying to figure out, you know, why is Protoss still in this game. Yeah, at this point, with this supply difference, I don't see Earrob coming back. You know, unless maybe he gets a money recall.
Yeah, on the 5th, clearing that army here. That's actually pretty good. That's actually really good recall. Manages to save the Nexus 2.
Oh, I think we're
5 of his gates.
I think we're totally bugged because I'm not seeing anything happen at the
5 o'clock.
Yeah, the 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah, he just recalled actually at the 5 o'clock. He cleared that army there. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 6. You're saying the 5 o'clock's bottom right?
Yeah, that's right. That's bottom right.
Yeah, I think our replay's bugged or something because I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, I think this replay's bugged for me.
You wanna rehost it and just skip to, let's say, like 21 or 53 or. Oh, you know what? Let me just commentate. It's almost over. I mean.
Yeah,
like,
the viewers can't see the video, right? They've seen the bug version.
Yeah, that is true.
So I think it's pretty clear that Kanzaki pulls this off, right?
Yeah, it's basically over. So basically, I know you guys can't really see, but Kanzaki's now moving on the 5th again, and yeah, it's basically over.
It's really weird because I hosted the game, right? You joined, so like, I guess that can happen actually. All right. All right. It looks like we got some ZVTs and a ZVP left, so that's good. Oh, I've not been updating the scoreboard, have I? So I think we're at Kanzaki is at 1 win. Earrob is at 1 win. Yes. Alright, so we got a TBC, so we nice change of pace. We haven't seen any Zerg games yet, so I'm glad to see that we need some race diversity in CPL.
So we got Snowfruit as Zerg on the top right, and we got Kanzaki, the Terran player, top left.
Kanzaki likes to talk quite a bit, apparently, right? I think every single game he's been in, he's been chatting up the other player. So, a little bit interesting, I feel like, in a competitive tournament like this, right?
Oh, maybe he's trying to. Maybe he has some kind of meta strategy with typing. He's trying to distract his opponent.
Whenever someone talks this much in my ladder games, I typically think they're trying to cheese me. So maybe he's doing like the double fake, right? Snowfruit thinks that he's going to get cheesed, but he's not going to get cheesed.
Oh yeah, well I guess we'll see what he does. Okay, so Snowfruit scouting down to the 5 o'clock position with his overlord. Let's see. I think it's going to be an overpool.
Oh.
Maybe.
Cool. Yeah, nothing too crazy from either player. We just got the Terran. Gonna be throwing down a barracks here any minute. Nothing aggressive about that. If you want to do any sort of proxy racks play, I think you gotta have SCBL on the map. A lot earlier than this. So our most likely
pretty standard play actually. Yeah, coming out of both players. I actually made a mistake. I thought it was going to be an overpool, but looks like he's actually going to grab his expansion first. Yeah, totally normal as well in this matchup.
Really surprised we're not seeing a scout out of Kanzaki yet, right? I think the timing you should go for is 10.5. When you have a 10.5 supply as a Terran player, that's when you want to send your scout out. Because I think if a 4 pool was coming in, you would have no idea as a Terran player.
You can scout at 10.5, but I personally like to scout at 12. I think that's actually the number. Well, we see Kanzaki going for gas, so maybe he's planning to do some. Oh, I don't know. This could be anything. With a quick gas, it could be some kind of like a 1-1-1 build, or it could be some kind of like all mech style that we see sometimes against Zurich. A really famous build, I suppose, or a build that's been used quite a lot is the 5-fact life, right?
We got a factory coming up.
Yeah, Kanzaki really likes that 5-factory build. So yeah, we might be seeing that again.
We got no gas coming out from the Zerg yet, just coming in now. So no early tech. I'm actually going for 3 hatcheries this early, and his 3rd hatch is at its natural. That's a little bit odd. Typically, you want to do that, in a base location, right? This really isn't going to serve you very much.
It actually kind of reminds me of almost like Protoss or Zerg versus Protoss. You have a little bit of a Sim City out in front of your natural.
Right. I guess
you put that in.
I wonder, is this drone supposed to be blocking a vulture? But it's way too early for a vulture to come out. I wonder if he is. It looks like he's throwing down a creep colony because he's scared of that vulture coming. I think the timing on this is actually pretty good.
So we see that first vulture coming out for Kanzaki.
Looks like he's pulled his workers off gas, so he isn't going to commit to anything like 2-port Wraith, or I don't think even like a 5-factory build, right?
No, I can see he's going for his natural command center, and with a starport coming up, I do believe this will be the 1-1-1 build. He's getting his machine shop though, so I'm not really sure.
Should you ever be pulling SCVs off of gas when you're doing anything like 1-on-1? feel like gas is so valuable, right?
Yeah, we really do need a full saturation on gas to do 111, because you need that vessel out, right, to deal with the meters if they're going meters, right, and they radiate, right.
So he's going for. Well, he was going for a second vulture, but he canceled it, which I think is the right call, right? You really need one vulture here to set up that contain. In fact, he should have it a little bit further ahead to, spot for any Zerglings that try and run off through the Zerg's third. But yeah, it looks like he is just going for that 101 with a, that machine shop
Will come
confuses
out,
me.
right, and they'll be able to see if it's going to be some kind of like Hydra bust, or will there be a Spire follow up, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit surprised he's getting this machine shop and vulture speed with only 2 vultures. He's really not going to be able to run by this, I don't think, right? So I think a bit of a misplay there. But this
Vulture speed is actually very common in 111, but as you were saying, yeah, the SimCity is pretty tight for Snowfruit. So even if there is a run by, I don't think he'll do much. Vulture speed is still good though, I think, to get, because if you have two vultures with vulture speed, you can actually deny any kind of like ling flat out, or any kind of like Zergling scout or anything like that. So yeah, so he sees the Spire. He's a Spire coming up, but I think the Spire is a little bit of a a little bit of misdirection, because you can see the lurker aspect coming out. I mean, the Spire will obviously be useful for Scourge and everything later on, but I don't think at this point Snowfruit's actually going to go for some kind of like Mutalisk harass play. As I said, you can see him going for the lurker aspect. So actually, I think this will be more of a maybe like a Hydra lurk or Ling lurker bust at the front.
Right, I think you're right. He will be going for some sort of bust, or maybe just using these lurkers defensively to hold on to a third. But it doesn't look like he's even going for a third yet, right? I think you should have one up by now, right? As the Zerg with these many Hydralisks. So I think that's a little bit of a misplay.
Well, it's actually it's harder than it actually seems to actually get a third for Zerg at this point, especially with mines and speed. Like the vultures can actually deny a third if done correctly, especially with the Wraith scouting around.
So it looks
and
like
with you really need Overlord speed, right, to be able to clear these mines out and everything, right?
Right. I'm seeing one, maybe 2 mutas coming out of the main, along with a couple more actually at the natural. So it looks like he will be going for some mutalist play.
I apologize. Yeah, I guess I was wrong, because
Yeah.
I was thrown off. I thought he was gonna go for some kind of lurker, like because he got lurker aspect so early, right?
Right, and he's going to spot it. And he has Science Vessel already. Probably, I believe Irradiate is about to finish pretty soon. And he's got a good, barracks count and some turrets coming up. So he's going to be able to hold off on this, hold off any muta aggression really easily. The one thing that's lacking is he's got these, pretty poor saturation at his natural. He could probably stand and move a few over from his main over there. That's one thing I'd criticize. But I think
Snowfruit rallying up.
Yeah, at this point, Snowfruit, without a third, he's pretty much on a trajectory to lose, right? You can't go this long without, a third gas as a Zerg and expect to, be able to win, right?
I'm getting a little worried about Snowfruit right now. With the 111 timing, usually it's around like 9 or 10 minutes. You get a big force together with like two sand vessels, 3 tanks. I think that's the number, and you want to go, and you can usually get that force around 9 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think these Mutalisks haven't been anything yet.
Another hatchery actually going down in Snowfruit's main.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Snowfruit, maybe he needs to be more comfortable just throwing down a hatchery at a base. Yeah, right now he's throwing down sunken colonies at his natural. He's playing super defensively, and the Terran player is developing into a pretty sick late game that I don't think Zerg's will be able to match. Although he is just throwing down a third and a fourth actually in the bottom right, but I have a feeling that's a little too late. So it looks like we see Terran moving out here for push out with 2 vessels. Good amount of Marines and medics. It's going to be able to stop anything pretty easily.
This is a pretty terrifying push coming out of Kanzaki. With no lurkers on the way, I'm not quite sure how he can really hold this.
He actually,
Zerglings.
yeah. Didn't he get lurker aspect earlier?
Yeah, he did.
But
Yeah,
he's researching it now, so I think he must have.
Oh, he must have. I guess he canceled it then. Yeah.
Right. I think he maybe had something in mind and switched. But we got a Zerg counterattack coming in here, taking out 1 vessel. That's good, but bleeding out this many units, like for just Marines at this stage of the game, is not worth it. And oh dear, we got some of the radiants coming down on these windows. I think Zerg really isn't long for this world. He's just getting his hive now. If the Terran player wanted to, he could just move down and wipe out this 3rd and 4th for the Zerg before they get any, add any economy to the Snowfruit.
And I think actually Kanzaki waited a little bit too late here.
He's going for the bus. He's going for the defense matrix.
I think Snowfruit has enough to actually hold this at this time.
I think he's going to hold, actually.
I think he will be able to hold it. It's a very nice D-Matrix, though, tanking a lot of shots from the little lings. Yeah, the sheer amount of Zerglings overwhelming that force from the front. Kanzaki pulling back now.
But we're seeing no upgrades from the Zerg player, so, I think it's pretty, with the late economy, with no upgrades, the Zerg player is really not long for this world, because, Terran player on 2 base is, even a 2 base where half the workers at the natural aren't mining, he can pop out of, 8 barracks comfortably. So I think Kanzaki really just needs to throw down 4 more barracks, keep up, maybe, another starport actually. You can see he's floating quite a bit of gas. Keep his upgrades going and just, put up the pressure on and end this game.
We see Snowfruit moving across the map with some lings, maybe thinking of, I don't know, I guess he's just trying to get some map control with these lings.
I think as a Zerg player, a lot of times, right, you're like, what a lot of good Zerg players do is throw, send out packs of Zerglings, into Terran bases when they know Terran's preoccupied with attacks or moving out on the map. But, a situation like this where the Terran player is really just buttoning up, it doesn't really make much sense to do something like that. I really think that with the amount of vessels that the Terran player has, maybe he's doing a good job of camping out in front of his natural. The Zerg player is not going to be in a position to do much. I actually would like to see the Terran player move out and just smash these 3rd and 4th bases. There's really nothing stopping him. The only thing stopping him is his lack of marine production. But you can see he's picking that up. These barracks aren't blinking. That kind of points to not doing a good job keeping up this macro. I'm not saying that's super hard as a Terran player in the later game when you're microwing, groups of marine medics and science vessels. It can be very hard to keep that macro up, but I feel like that's one of the things that as a Terran player you have to learn, that it's not as important that I micro like 12 Marines correctly. It's more important that I build 8 Marines consistently out of my barracks.
We see Kanzaki going for a possible attack on the 3rd and 4th base. Snowfruit moving his army down from his natural to his 3rd. Snowfruit sandwiching Kanzaki's force between his 3rd and the ramp, but he does not quite get the burrow off on time, losing all of his lurkers there. That's not good.
That's an interesting choice to work for lurkers.
He does have a Nidus, but I don't think he actually linked up the Nidus to his natural, so that's why he had to walk down there instead of just coming out and holding his 3rd. I can just macro up behind this attack. Looks like he's thinking of getting his 3rd. No, not yet.
Yeah, I think he's really got to clean up these natural cities. That's really a limiting factor for his growth right now. But I think a lot of times as a Terran player, what I like to do in situations where I'm active on the map, I'm floating tons of cash, just throw down a physics lab and start pumping BCs, and just 2 BCs can do a great job of giving the Zerg huge headaches.
A Snowfruit cleaning up that force, saving his third. If Snowfruit does have his defilers out and consume, so this has got to be the time where Kanzaki's is got to be a little bit worried about this. So the defiler, one of the best units in the Zerg arsenal in TVZ.
Yeah,
I see Snowfruit maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
Kanzaki's doing a little bit too much. You can see he's going for tanks and dropships and science vessels. He's kind of spreading his tech a little bit too thin, I'd say. At this point, a Terran player should really have like a core group of like 8 vessels that are just constantly killing lurkers and defilers.
We see maybe a little bit of an attack out in the front. A good swarm coming off. Of course, the Dark Swarm, for those who are new to the game, makes any of the units underneath it impervious to any ranged attack. Here we see Kanzaki loading up his dropships now, maybe thinking of doing a Doom drop with his 3 dropships. Let's see. Snowfruit doesn't really have any Scourge or anything in position. Well, like, he does have a couple Scourge as natural, but they're not really in position to stop this drop. This drop could potentially do a lot of damage if it lands in the right place. It looks like Snowfruit is actually trying to gear up for another attack.
Yeah, he's actually doing a pretty good job. The longer that this game goes, the more of a chance Snowfruit has to come back into it. He's not that far behind in upgrades, and with the filers and like the pretty small amount of science vessels, lurkers and the defilers can do pretty good damage. Let's see how these drops turn out.
Zaki dropping in the main, but looks like Snowfruit's already on top of it all. He's bringing his units back to deal with this drop. Let's see if he can pick off then any tech structures. Looks like the Defiler Man will be taken out. It's a good choice, and now he's going after the evolution chambers. Oh, that's really good. He denied that armor upgrade on the Lings, right? Oh, for the armor upgrade for the Ultra. Sorry about that. Yeah, and Zerg really needs that armor upgrade because it makes those Ultralists especially, and even those Zerg so much more powerful. Oh no, looks like his lurkers can't even make it into the main. Can he? Or oh, he can, but it was a little bit bugged out because the Lings were actually trapping his lurkers from actually getting into his main.
I mean, I guess the Terran player still doesn't have a 3rd CC. When you're floating this much cash, you really should be. You should be throwing down CCs, extra barracks, supply depots. I think Kanzaki has to do a better job of just, spending his money, right?
I'm getting a little worried for Kanzaki. He really needs a 3rd up. With Snowfruit taking again his 4th, retaking his 4th. Sorry, he's going to be in a great position. A 4-base Zerg is a really hard Zerg to beat. Actually, 4 gases with Ultralisk tech on the way. Oh, already out. Sorry. This is where the Zerg can really actually put the pressure on the Terran. Oh, and a big fight in the middle, but Kanzaki, I think he mishot-keyed his tanks or something, losing all his tanks to that lurker field in the middle. Looks like Snowfruit pushing in now.
Are we going to see Snowfruit in this game? Oh, well, we got another drop in the Zerg main. Zerg doesn't care, he's going to keep pushing.
He's got 3 Ultralisks in his main, I mean, should be fine. Dark Swarm's coming out on the natural, and yeah, that's it. Kanzaki, good games.
Kanzaki ends it. Yeah, I think, really we just saw Kanzaki not, take advantage of what he had, right? Like, there were so many times where if he just, walked 12 Marines across the map, he could have ended the game. So, really just concentrating on keeping his army macro going and not letting the Zerg take those hatcheries. I think he could have won that.
I think it was actually a solid play from both sides. I think that 1-on-1 build was actually executed really nice, and I think it was a really good comeback, yeah, from the Zerg as well.
All right, we got KanzkiRanko with 2 wins, tied up with Szinkler. And we're gonna go into another TVZ. gonna step away for a moment. I'll be right back.
So we got Snowfruit on the top right as our Zerg player. Bottom left, we have Abstractdaddy again. With both great players. We just saw a great comeback by Snowfruit last game. Abstractdaddy, I haven't seen him. Well, I think he was like the third game, so I haven't seen him play in a while. But I remember from what I saw, he was a pretty solid Terran, and I look forward to seeing his play again.
Alright, I'm back. I think this is actually my last game for the night. So sorry to people that we won't be able to get to. Alright. So how long have you been playing StarCraft? Always lose.
I played StarCraft I guess a couple of years back, but I wasn't really serious about it. I used to play those used map setting games like Evolves and stuff like that. You know, Diplo or War,
Right.
Risk, right? I only
Those are
really
the best
started
maps,
playing.
man.
Yeah, the StarCraft used map settings are pretty good. I mean,
I played those for 20 years before I started playing the real version. So right there with you.
I think I only ever started playing StarCraft for real, when remaster. Well, no, not like I guess like 4 or 5 months after remaster came out. So playing for but more like a year and a half, I suppose.
So we got we got an economic build coming out of Snowfruit. Abstractdaddy doing pretty much the standard. He's got his scout coming out, so hopefully what happens when Abstractdaddy sees this early hatch is he's gonna cut marine production, get our early natural himself. Because really, I think as a Terran player, it's in both matchups, right, versus Protoss versus Zerg, you're always scared of, Zealots and Zergans are kind of the scariest units, so you definitely gotta learn pretty quick of like when to take economic advantages as a Terran. So we're gonna see that Abstract is gonna see this, and we're gonna see what kind of reaction we see at home. We should see as soon as this minerals go to 400, a CC gets thrown down. And that's exactly what we're supposed to do.
Oh, he's actually capping the Zerg's gas.
Oh
his
my
main.
goodness.
Yeah, so he's gonna force this into a 3 hatch build for sure.
I'm not sure if that's worth it, right? Because that's going to delay our expansion as a Terran. It's costing money.
Yeah, right. Because if the Zerg was going for a 3 hatch build anyway, in the first place, right, it wouldn't really set the Zerg back, that much, right? And you can see he's already taking his gas at as natural, right? So.
Right. So I guess the real mark of a good Terran player in TVZ is how long can they keep their SCV alive for, inside the Zerg space. So you really should be able to keep it alive at least to the layer, to see a layer or not, right? So hopefully that's kind of what that's what Abstractdaddy's looking for. He should be checking to see is there a second gas coming up in the main, but it looks like he's actually just gonna leave, not lose that SCV. Which I think a bit of a mistake. You want to keep that SC alive for as long as possible.
Yeah, it's actually harder said than done though, because it takes a lot of multitasking to keep that SCV alive while managing everything in your base. But yeah, for sure though. Well, he's looping back around, so he'll be able to see the layer timing, right, and no second gas, right. So that's pretty good. Looks like Abstractdaddy, I think he's gonna go for the 5 racks plus 1 build. He's got his engineering bay on the way with his academy behind. He's saturating both bases right now. That's pretty good. He sees no second gas, and he's already seen the lair. I think Abstractdaddy's in a really good position right now.
I guess the important thing is to spot this hydrogen, right? Because as soon as you see this hydrogen as a Terran, I'm still actually trying to work on this. Like, I'm not sure what the immediate reaction is. Is it, is this a Hydra bust? Is this going to be a lurker drop, lurker bust, or is this going to be just lurkers into a quicker third base? I think as a Terran player, you really have to get your SCV on the map to check for that third, on whether you should be afraid or not. But in the meantime, we have Abstract moving on some Marines, forcing some Sunkens from Snowfruit. Looks like, this is a good move, right? You want to just force the Zerg to spend money in drones, putting up defense, and then as soon as you see this is there, you pull back. And, even a third creep colony coming up, a bit of overkill from Snowfruit. With no saturation on his main, he's taking some, economic damage from that.
Yeah, especially, I mean, drones, you don't get the drone back after get in the building, right? So the cost of building the sunken colonies and everything, right? It really comes back to hurt you.
And so we see, we see Abstract throwing down a bunker as soon as he scans the Hydra's Den. He already saw it before, but, he scanned again and didn't see a spire. So he's definitely, concerned about a bust coming his way. One thing I'd like to see is maybe, an SCV checking out for possible thirds. Right, because you totally can just go Hydra's Den into a third, right, and not do any aggression.
Right. Yeah, you can totally do that. Yeah.
It looks like he's not going into a 5 racks. Actually, he's going into some siege tanks and 3 racks. I wonder if the siege, the tank machine shop here is going to be a reaction to seeing those Hydra's or that Hydra Den.
Yeah, definitely. I think he was setting up for a 5 racks plus 1. But with his engineering bay first and then his academy right after. But we've seen the Hydralist Den. He got a quick factory to get those tanks, right, which to counter any possible lurker bust, right? Yeah, and we can also see, as you were saying earlier, with it could be a lurker bust. You could try to sneak some lurkers into overlords and drop them in, so you can see Abstractdaddy putting supply depots on the fringes of his base, right? So you can spot any overlord drops.
Yeah, that's actually a really good move. That's something that I need to learn. Just having that right reaction. Because now he's kind of covering all bases. If a lurker drop comes in, he's going to be able to spot it and pull CVs in time. And if he gets busted in the front, he's got these units out on the map, looking for things and putting pressure on the Zerg. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Abstractdaddy. He's really reacting to everything the proper way. He's keeping his SCV count up really high. I think this turret is even just here to deal with lurker drops, so he's really covering all his bases, and he's doing a good job keeping SCVs out on the map to check for possible thirds. Meanwhile, Snowfruit, right? He's still not on a 3 base economy yet. He's floating quite a bit of money, so he's just now throwing down his Queen's Nest. So.
We have a little bit of a skirmish out in front of Snowfruit's base. It's good micro by Abstractdaddy, not losing any of his units. Looks like Snowfruit, I think this force is just to secure the 3rd and the 4th. I don't think he's actually going to try to, counter into the... Oh, actually he is. Pardon me, yeah, I guess I'm wrong again. Yeah, it looks like he is going to try to hit the Terran base, but I'm pretty sure Abstractdaddy will be 100% fine. He's got his tank sieged up, a bunker in front, and everything.
I think right now he just knows he's behind, right? So he's trying to make something happen, but Abstractdaddy just got all his bases covered, so we're really not going to see anything. And in fact, I think as soon as Abstract saw, hey, there's no hatchery here, he just immediately moved his force out to the bottom right, which is the proper reaction.
Yeah, even denying that 3rd, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we're not seeing are, Abstract is actually floating quite a bit of cash. He actually does have a starport, but he's getting his science facility. I'd like to see maybe...
he's going dropship first. He still hasn't got his facility.
I'd like to see maybe one more starport to, be able to use up all his gas. And maybe a few more barracks to take care of all the cash he's bringing in for minerals.
Actually, I think he's doing pretty well. He's under 100 minerals here. I think they're both spending pretty well. Yeah, I just think that Snowfruit, he really needs to get his 3rd up, but Abstractdaddy's doing a great job, scouting and denying any kind of 3rd, right?
I mean, I think even at this point, sending the lurkers up a ramp in the Marine medic is really not gonna get you anything, right? Any competent player is gonna do exactly what Abstract just did, which is just, you know, make the Zerg move for every inch of ground if they want to move those lurkers. He really
Yeah, for
should.
sure, he's getting so much value out of these small group of Marines now. Maybe now sniping an Overlord as well, right?
Right, and I mean, he's not even throwing, you know. Oh, I think he actually had a drone hit him here, and that's what he was trying to kind of liberate, but, you know, I think he should have thrown down something closer to his base instead of trying to fight his way up that range.
It's just some great micro coming out of Abstractdaddy, you know, getting maximum use out of that small group of Marines. And now we got a draw coming in from the, maybe to Snowfruit's main, but looks like Snowfruit's on top.
He's not going to lose anything.
Yeah, he's on top of it. It was good reaction by Snowfruit, like denying that drop.
Yeah, I think what we really need to see is, right, like, I think as a Terran player fighting Zerg, like, the scariest thing, right, is just the fact that Zerg can just throw down bases all across the map, and it's, you know, very difficult to deal with all this. So I think you got to try to nip these in the bud. So I'd like to see him move out from Abstract sooner rather than later.
Hold on, we got a drop again in the main. He actually snuck him past the units and landed up on the south of the main. It looks like there's already a lurker in place, so not too many drones will die, which is pretty good. But he will get the evolution chamber. But unfortunately, it's the evolution chamber without any upgrades going, right? So he doesn't even get the chamber. It is. No, I won't even get the chamber. But yeah, it didn't really matter that much though, because I mean it wasn't the chamber with the armor get upgrading, right? So.
Yeah, he's still doing some damage. He's getting his third base going up, which is really good. But, you know...
He's got double third and fourth actually going up. That's really nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. He's got the fourth on... He's got the third and fourth, right? The bottom right?
Oh, I'm talking about the Terran player.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, he's floating his third right now, but there's a Ling there and potentially one lurker. That's going to deny that. Okay, Abstractdaddy coming out with like a Doom push, looks like. Intercepting the Zerg forces right in the middle. That's not really good. Radiate's going out. Yeah, losing I think a lurker to radiate there and a ton of Lings. But
yeah, I think, you know, Abstract just needs to do a little bit better job macroing his you know, barracks. And he could, you know, just push out and kill these, right? Because he's being a little bit hesitant pushing out here, right? And I think one great thing is there's like a time, you know, when you, as a Terran player, you just can have units all over the map, and you know, just not even worry about it, because it's very difficult for Zerg to push out against just Marines, right? Until they have defilers. So I think, yeah, Abstract needs to maybe do a better job. Taking advantage of that. Really, there's no reason for him to just be camped out here, right? He's not really defending his main, and he's not exerting any pressure on the Zerg, so...
Hold on, we got a potential drop in the fourth base, the third and fourth, by Abstractdaddy. Snowfruit doing a good job though. He's got a lurker in both mineral lines, so that would probably be enough to stop this. Looks like Abstractdaddy moving his army to the north. I think he left his tanks behind. If these Zerglings can pick off these tanks, that'd be a great pickup. But looks like he's pulling back his links. A ton of lurkers coming in from the left side, but there's no Zergling support.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Terran player, right, just doesn't kill something pretty soon, right? Once these gases kick in and Zerg can just throw down, you know, tons and tons of units, right? Like, it's gonna get very difficult.
Yeah, when the Zerg, especially on this map, when they get about like 4 gases, and when the defilers are out, which they are out now, it gets so difficult for the Terran to actually like close out a game. Those Dark Swarms, plus like, you know, Ultralisk. I don't know if he has the Ultralisk Den already,
Yeah,
or...
I feel like, yeah, I think that's the strategy. One of the metas right now, right, is just get lots of armor and lots of ultras, so you can crush anything as Zerg on 4 bases. So
we got a fight coming out just north of the minerals in the center. Great Dark Swarms, great attack by Snowfruit, pushing Abstractdaddy's forces back.
Yeah, you can just see Abstract's not really getting much done, right? Like, he came from over here. He came from the, you know, south of the center to the north of it,
I
right?
think that was a little bit of a mistake. Right there by Snowfruit. He was trying to push like with his lurkers.
Right.
Yeah, but without the swarm, right? The swarm was a little bit late.
Yeah, so I mean, I think just, you know, as time goes by, right, this is getting worse and worse for Abstract. You've seen this swap, you know, the supplies close up between the two players, and that's not good for the Terran. Pretty interesting to see this bunker here at the bottom right by Abstract. I guess he loaded a medic, or an SCV instead of a medic, so he figured he'd make a bunker.
We see a little bit of an attack going down in the bottom right. But yeah, like a Defiler with a swarm will repel that attack.
Yeah, he's really just needs to, you know, I think as a Terran player, right, you want to do concentrated attacks. You don't want to just spread yourself out all over. So, you know, really just needs to concentrate on building up a supply vessel count and, you know, getting his army into a position to, you know, kill a Zerg base.
With this SK style of play, when you go mass barracks, you really have to keep the pressure on Zerg continuously. If you let the Zerg sit back, they will just get, you know, like so many Ultralists and so many Zerglings and so many Defilers, and at that point it's very, very hard to deal with.
Yeah, he's still only at one starport and it's not producing. I think that's kind of part of the problem, right, is that without science vessels, yeah, I mean, it makes sense how he's playing right now because he doesn't have any science vessels. Because, yeah, right now, like, any Defiler that comes up, any Dark Stormer that comes up, you can't do anything. So really, the Terran player needs to concentrate on getting those vessels up, and I'm not sure why. He's just forgotten about that starport in the bottom left of his base.
It looks like a little bit of aggression with that drop he landed on Snowfruit's bottom right. It did a good job of denying the mining, but I think not that many drones were killed.
Yeah,
Trying to hit the front as well, but you know, again denied by lurkers and Defiler.
We got 3 science vessels up at the, you know, Zerg's main, natural, but yeah, they're really not doing the pressure they need to. He's gonna take down 1 Defiler, that's good. Yeah, I think really
Abstractdaddy, go ahead.
the SK style, yeah, you really need just a cloud of science vessels, and you know, 3 is not gonna cut it, especially on a 4-base Zerg economy.
Looks like Snowfruit's gathering up his forces. Looks like he's moving. I think he's moving to the south. I think he wants to break that soft contain that Abstractdaddy has. Abstractdaddy going in for another attack, but another beautiful swarm, denying you know, any kind of push in there. And yeah, like his forces are now sandwiched between the 3rd and the army of the Snowfruit. So that's gonna get cleaned up.
We'll finally see some Ultralists come out. I think that's really going to be the closer for the Zerg player. Once I think, you know, the Zerg player just has infinite money at this point, right? They can just spam Ultralists. So,
yeah, like
Abstractdaddy
trying to go for a counter at that front, but I don't think it's going to work. It's too much Zerg.
he's actually going for Ultralist speed before armor, which I think is a mistake. I think at this point, if he just massed out tons of Ultralists, got that Ultralist armor, he could end this game immediately.
Like Abstractdaddy going for a ninja command setting at 12 o'clock. Also gearing up for an attack again on the 3rd, but those lurkers making short work of that force.
Yeah, both players are flowing quite a bit of money.
Would like to see, yeah, maybe, as you were saying, you know, earlier, right? Now you maybe throw it on another starport or 2 and start making those battle cruisers. And one thing that a Terran player can do to combat the Zerg in the late game while playing SK is to go mass battle cruisers, and you know, after you have, you know, like I don't know, like maybe six vessels or so, right? 6 or 8 vessels. And that really helps because that soaks up a lot of the Zerg's gas, forces them to make a Scourge.
Right.
And Battlecruisers are so effective, right, against Scourge. They want to hit Scourge, so.
We just saw the Zerg player dump all his money to Ultimus, which I was saying earlier you should do, right? So I'm hopeful that, I think that's going to be the closer. He still doesn't have that +2 armor, though. That's really what lets you as a Zerg player kind of use Ultimus to their, most advantage.
Right. Yeah, with that +2 on the Carapace, on top of that, it gives the Ultralisk, I think, was it like 5 or
They're going to go
six armor, I think?
So Marines only do 3 damage at max.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, Marines just tickle the Ultralisk, right? So a little bit of attack out in front of Abstractdaddy's base. You can really see those Ultralisks shining now. Like, it's very, very hard to play SK against in late game against Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you watch a replay of this, right, like, as Abstractdaddy, you always say to yourself, like, why was, floating so much money, right? Like, all that money could have been units on the map killing Zerg things this entire game. I think that's, kind of just the one thing he missed up.
The third of Abstractdaddy going down. It's like Snowfruit has gearing up for, I think he's going up for a big attack, moving all his units across, rallying them in front of the natural.
Yeah, he just sends them into the natural. There's going to be nothing there for the Terran player. I think that could end this game.
We'll see a small, I think, task force of Firebats in front of the third, but I'm not sure if they're going to just stim in and... Actually, I think if he stimmed those Firebats right now and ran into the third, he could do a lot of damage. Just like basically nothing in the third except for drones. Right?
Well, the Radiated Ultralisk are the best units with Firebats, so we'll see how that goes. Well, they know that Ultralisk is luring the Firebats into the third, so that's not good. But yeah, I think if Zerg moves in, he wins right now.
Well, he retook his third, yeah, but with his big attack coming out from Snowfruit, I'm not sure if he's going to have the units to be able to hold on to this push.
Uh-oh. He's losing his third Snowfruit, so he's pulling back from the offensive, which I think is a mistake. Hopefully we're going to see him switch that out and go back on the offensive. Right now the Zerg's on a 4 base, going to be 6 base economy soon.
We got a counterattack actually happening to Abstractdaddy's third. Again, denying that third. So Abstractdaddy's basically dry. He's got a couple patches left in his main. That's about it. Zerg's taking his 5th base and his 6th base actually. 5th at the 12, 6th at the number, was it 112, 1 at the 2 o'clock? 2 or 3 o'clock. Abstractdaddy building up a force in front of his natural. But so is Snowfruit. I mean, it's just, I think, a matter of time now for Snowfruit.
We're just waiting for the A move by Snowfruit at this point. And here we go.
Here we go.
And we got good clone Scourge cloning, taking in all the vessels. I think
that's very, very nice cloning by Snowfruit, taking out those vessels.
That's our game. Alright, let's see what we got. Snowfruit taking a game. Let's add that to the ledger. Okay, alright, well, yeah, unfortunately this is my last game that I can view tonight, so I'm going to end this here. But yeah, thanks for casting with me. You always lose, and for the viewers watching, that was fun. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to CPL, and yeah, you have any closing words you want to say, Liz?
No, just yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, it was real fun. Hope everyone will enjoy the CPL, right? And hope we'll see some great games in the future.
All right. See you guys later.